Hi, Aletha here with Create Your Future, and welcome to my video. Thank you for being here. I want to remind you that Create Your Future is still giving away a free course, how to find your blocks to manifest anything fast. And then to also remind you that I also have courses available, and I'd like to highlight one right now, and that is the ultimate self-concept. And that concept is so crucial because what is the ultimate self-concept? It's believing that I am the operant power. It's living from a state of consciousness that says, I'm in control of my reality. Nothing and no one else has any control over my reality. It all comes down to what I assume is true about me. If I assume that I'm in a loving, beautiful, supportive relationship with my specific person, and I live from that, I feel that it is my truth, then that will be my reality. But if I believe the opposite, if I feel the opposite, if I'm constantly thinking about a third party, or that we're separated, or we're not together, or I live in fear that we're going to break up, then those things, those assumptions will have to push out and then be reflected back. So it's so important to understand that you're the operant power. No one has any free will in your reality but you. Your specific person, or everything and everyone must comply to you. They have to conform to you. Then you assign the meaning to everything, so nothing is anything until you decide what it is. And thought transmission is real. They do hear your thoughts. They do feel. Everybody's overhearing everything you're thinking and feeling. So check out that course. It's valuable, and I believe that will be a great help to you when you start to live from your power. When you learn how to live from your power, everything in your world totally changes to the better. Today we're going to talk about turning from appearances, the 3D, and assuming the feeling of your assumption already fulfilled. I do one-on-one coaching, so if you have questions about this video, once you've watched it, and or any questions at all about anything, or just need some help navigating through the process of manifesting your desire into fruition, then connect with me. I would love to work with you. Turning from appearances, the 3D, and assuming the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. Neville Goddard said, turn from appearances and assume the feeling that would be yours were you already the one you wish to be. If you were already in that beautiful, loving, supportive relationship, if you already had all the money that your heart's desiring, if you already had the wellness and the vitality that you wanted physically, or whatever it is that you want, if you only had that job, that career, whatever it is, you have to assume that it's yours now. So he goes on and he says, turn from appearances and assume the feeling that would be yours were you already the one you wish to be. Your feelings create states of consciousness, and your state of consciousness create your reality. So when I say that your assumption is so important, it is because it is actually influencing your state of consciousness. We all live from a state of consciousness. We are consciousness. And whatever I assume to be true about me is my state of consciousness. And what's so cool is there's no right or wrong state of consciousness. It's just if I'm in one that I don't like what's reflecting back to me from the 3D, I can change that state of consciousness to what I do prefer to reflect back to me. Live there. Assume that to be my new truth, and it will reflect back to me. So we need to turn away from appearances, the 3D. What's happening in your 3D, stop giving it your attention. Stop reacting to what you're seeing in the 3D. The 3D is just an old thought playing out. It's a reflection. It's a hologram. It's an echo. It's a shadow. It's not real. Tell yourself that in the midst of your stress. Stop feeling stressed and remind yourself this isn't real. What is real is what I'm imagining, what I'm assuming to be my future, my life, my reality. What is my assumption? And there's where you stay. You rest in the assumption. I no longer respond. Here's an affirmation. I no longer respond to illusion, only to my inner truth, which is whatever my assumption is That's my inner truth. I'm assuming that I'm wealthy. I'm assuming that I'm in a beautiful, loving relationship. I'm assuming I have perfect health. I'm assuming I'm in the career that my heart desires. I'm assuming that I'm famous. Whatever it is your heart's desiring is okay. There's no right or wrong. Neville Goddard also says that man can be anything he wants. There's nothing impossible to the mind. Whatever you assume yourself to be, and you stick with that and you persist in that, and you don't give up after a week or two, or even a day or two sometimes, you stick with it. It depends, might take a while, but you stick with it and it will manifest into your 3D reality. It will reflect it back to you. The moment you have a desire, you know that desire already exists. And the moment that you set your intention on that, and the moment that you imagine it and you make that your assumption, it's already manifested. Everything's already created, right? All you're doing now is waiting for the gestation period for it to reflect back to you, because whatever is pushed out of you, whatever you're assuming to be true about you, will push out for sure. And it must, for sure, be reflected back to you. So you rest in the state of your assumption, whatever it is, you persist there. No matter what the 3D is showing you, you say, nope, that's a shadow of past thoughts. This is where I'm staying. This is my assumption. This is my reality. So you remain faithful to that feeling. You've got to feel it. Feeling is the key. It's the secret. The universe doesn't respond to our words. It responds to our frequency, and feeling is frequency. Rest in that state and persist there and feel that feeling, no matter what appears in your 3D reality. Because if something negative is appearing in your 3D reality that you don't want, well, it's going to continue to appear if you keep focusing on it. If you keep feeling it, stop feeling it. How do you stop feeling it? Just stop focusing on it. You stop thinking about it. Well, how do you stop thinking about it? You replace it with what? The new thing that you do want, which is then called your new assumption, your new imaginal scene, your new state of consciousness. Here's a mantra: I feel it real, therefore it is. And that's true. My state of consciousness, whatever I assume is my truth, is my state of consciousness. And if I say it is, then it is. Because who's in control of my reality? No one but me. The outside world is not controlling you. You are controlling the outside world by your thoughts. So whatever's showing up in your outside world is a result of what's going on inside of you. So if you don't like it, you've got to go inside and change what you're thinking. Change your assumptions, change your thoughts. Look for your new story. And look for any stories that might not be in alignment with what you are saying. If you're walking around and saying, I am wealthy, but you're feeling like it's hard, money is hard to come by, then that's a story that needs to be changed. I am wealthy and money flows to me easily and effortlessly from multiple sources that are expected and unexpected. Then that story has been changed now to something positive. The block is gone so that your wealth can come into you, and you do that with everything: your health, SP, career, children, whatever you want. If you see somebody in your world who is going through a difficult time, change everybody's out picturing of you. So see the best for that person. Don't go in line with what they're suffering. Don't come into alignment with that. Don't come into alignment with what other people are saying about that person. Instead, you do the opposite. You assume a new future for them. You assume a new story for them. You assume that they're healthy, they're well, they're wealthy, they're gainfully employed. Whatever that person needs, you assume it. And you live from that assumption. You persist in it no matter what they're doing in the 3D. And it will manifest. They will change. They will have to come into alignment with your assumption because they must conform to you. So if your SP is doing things that you don't like, well, whose fault is that? No one's. It's not a fault. It's a state of consciousness. What state of consciousness are you living in? Are you living in that my SP is distant, distracted, they don't love me, they choose other people? If you're living from those states of consciousness, believing that's true about you, that self-concept, then of course they have to conform. But if you change that story to I'm irresistible to them, they love me, they adore me, they want to be with me as much as I want to be with them, we're in this beautiful, loving, supportive, exclusive relationship together, when you live from that story, from that assumption, and that's your truth, that's your self-concept, that you're in this beautiful, loving relationship, then that must be reflected. They have to conform to that. Whatever that assumption is, they have to conform to it. So if it's an assumption that they don't want you, they will conform. If it's an assumption that they can't resist you, that they love you and they adore you, they have to conform to that. It's the law of the universe. It's nothing that you or I. It's the law of the universe. So stay in your assumption. Persist there. You know, the cool thing is when you have an assumption and you're able to block out the 3D. That doesn't mean if you have issues with your finances that you don't pay your bills because I've got an assumption that I'm wealthy. You walk through the 3D, but when you see a bill that comes in that you feel like it's going to be stressful in paying it, instead of freaking out, panicking, and getting really upset over it emotionally, just say, you know what? I am wealthy. I have more than enough money to cover all of my expenses. Then you go pay the bill. You find a way to pay the bill, but you continue living from the assumption. So you walk in the 3D, you follow through with whatever's needing to be done in the 3D, but you're living internally from the assumption that everything always works out perfectly on my behalf. And you stay there and you stay there, and you're going to start to see that the old assumptions, the old thoughts of lack are disappearing, fading, and going away. That includes SPs with third parties. The third party is going away. You live from the assumption that I am wealthy. You pay the bill, but I am wealthy. I have more than enough money to cover all of my expenses. You keep staying there, and opportunities will come to you. Things will show up in your world. Money will show up. That's happened to me many, many times. Or unexpected opportunities for earning income show up in my reality, and which gives me more income because I'm living from a state of consciousness that says I always have more than enough income to cover all of my expenses, needs, joys, and wants. You live in the state of consciousness that you want to experience, even though you're not seeing it yet in the 3D. You will, but you got to stay there. You got to persist there, and that works for SPs. It works for health. It works for everything. You might be in the midst of a pain or some limiting illness right now where it limits you from doing the things you really want to do. You stay in the state of consciousness that says I have perfect health, I am wellness, and you do not give in to the fears that come along. And each area has its own specific fears. Like health has its fears, SPs have their fears, money has its fears, anything has its fears, but you're not going to live in the fear. That's lack. You're going to live in the assumption that says you're going to live in abundance. You're going to live in the assumption that says I have already, it's mine now, because what? As within, so without. Whatever I am conscious of being, that will become my reality. So turn from appearances and assume the feeling. And that's key. In closing, you can have an assumption and you can say all kinds of affirmations, but you've got to feel that I am this. You've got to feel the feelings that you would have if you were already in a beautiful, loving, supportive relationship with your SP. What does that feel like? Feel it. Now, walk around in your world feeling the joy of being in this beautiful, loving relationship as though it already is right now. Internally, you do that. Same way with finances. You walk around feeling the way a wealthy person would feel, even though you're having to face some of the stuff still going on in the 3D. You know that eventually it's going to turn around and become your feeling of abundance and unlimited wealth in your reality. Or the same way with health or anything else. Live from the feeling. Feeling is the key. And really, people go through so much effort. I'm doing my affirmations in the morning. I'm doing in the evening. I'm scripting. I'm listening to subliminals. You're doing all this work when all you really need to do is choose what you want. Create an assumption about that I am in this beautiful, loving, supportive, exclusive relationship with this specific person. And then feel it. Just feel it. What's that feel like? It feels wonderful. It feels safe. It feels secure. It feels beautiful. And if it feels connected to somebody, right? And it feels that love that you have for them and they have for you. And that's euphoric. Walk around. It doesn't mean you're jumping up and down with jumping jacks. You just feel the beauty of being in a loving, supportive relationship. And you apply that to money, you apply that to health, you apply that to career, you apply that to your children, to whatever it is your heart is desiring. And you live from the feeling. So is manifesting difficult? No. But what we find difficult is to let go of the 3D because we've been conditioned to believe it's the true reality when it's not. The true reality is whatever you're assuming yourself to be internally, and then that's reflected back to you. So change your assumption if you don't like your current 3D reality to what you do want to be, and then you feel that and you stay there. No matter what the 3D is showing you, you've got to let that old stuff just work itself out and go away. It will fade if you stay in the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. Neville said, turn from appearances and assume the feeling that would be yours were you already the one you wish to be. And I honestly I use affirmations sometimes. I do use them to keep myself in the feeling of being that person. Because why? Our inner conversations can be so negative. An affirmation replaces the inner conversation with something positive. It changes the story if you choose to feel that affirmation. I no longer respond to the illusion, only to my inner talk, to my inner conversation, which is that I'm in this beautiful, loving, supportive relationship with my specific person, and it feels amazing. And you live from that state of consciousness. You're feeling whatever you feel you are is your state of consciousness. That's your truth. And live there. Stay in don't make it so hard. You do your affirmations, yes. You do your imaginal work because that plants the seed. But you have to go through your day living from the feeling of already being that person, the one you want to be. You have to live from the feeling of being that person now, 24/7. And of course you say that's not possible. Well, no, but you can bring yourself back. That's possible. So every time you have that negative thought or that doubt comes in, that fear arises within you, stop it and say, no, that's a shadow. It's not real. What is real is this. And then it's your assumption, whatever that may be. And you feel it, and you feel it, and you feel it. So you just basically, you want to manifest something? Imagine what it is you want from the end of already having it. Change your inner conversation to those positive affirmations that are in alignment with what you want, and then live from the feeling all day long, and bring yourself back to that feeling when you lose it. Bring it back. Eventually it gets a little easier, but you still got to stay in the feeling. And if I think of something from the 3D that I find hurtful or is not in line with what I want, it's a shadow of one of my past thoughts, well, I just take myself back to, no, that's a past thought, that's a shadow, it's not real. This is what's real. And then I go to my assumption and I feel it. And then I can move on with my day, and I don't spiral and I don't lose it. And I also manifest what my heart desires. And I see it coming to me, but you gotta be patient. You just let the gestation period take its time, and you allow it to come to you in the way that it chooses to come to you. You don't dictate that. And you certainly don't base your assumption off what you're seeing in the 3D, other than you change it the opposite. If you're seeing your SP with somebody else in your heart, your assumption is that you're the only one. You're the chosen one. You're the one that they are with right now. If you have questions about any of this, on how to manifest easily and just to stay in the feeling of your wish fulfilled so that it can be reflected back to you, schedule an appointment and I will talk to you and I will help you, or leave a comment and I will answer that. Blessings.